Every brand starts with a vision, a spark, a direction, a belief that something meaningful can be built from nothing. But over time, something changes. The message starts to drift. The visuals become inconsistent. The audience begins to lose connection even if the content is still being produced. And slowly, silently, the brand begins to feel unclear. Like a cracked mirror, still reflecting something real, but no longer whole. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Brands don't usually fail because they are weak. They fail because they become unclear. Because in today's world, clarity is not optional. It is survival. If someone cannot understand who you are, what you do, and why you matter within seconds, they move on. Not because they hate your brand, but because they don't understand it. And confusion is where attention dies. But here's the part that changes everything. A broken brand identity is not the end of the road. It is a signal, a warning, and more importantly, an opportunity. Because when you rebuild a brand with intention, structure, and clarity, you don't return to your old level. You rise above it. So in this video, we are going to rebuild your brand identity step by step. Not theory, not fluff, but a practical real-world system you can actually apply. And if you stay until the end, you will have a complete roadmap to turn confusion into clarity and clarity into authority, trust, and growth. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Why Brand Identity Breaks. Before rebuilding anything, you need to understand why it collapsed in the first place. Most brands don't break suddenly. They decay slowly. And there are a few clear reasons for that. First, identity drift. This is when your brand slowly starts becoming something it was never meant to be. At the beginning, you are clear. You know your message. You know your audience. You know your direction. But then comes pressure. Pressure to grow faster. Pressure to follow trends. Pressure to compete. So you start changing things. New styles. New messages. New positioning. And without realizing it, your identity starts dissolving. Second, inconsistency. One day, your brand sounds professional. The next day, it sounds casual. Another day, it sounds overly promotional. There is no stable voice. And when a brand has no stable voice, the audience cannot trust it. Third, audience confusion. You try to speak to everyone. But when you speak to everyone, you connect with no one. Because clarity requires focus. And focus requires saying no. Fourth, emotional disconnect. Most brands focus on features. What they sell. What they offer. What they provide. But customers don't buy features. They buy outcomes. They buy transformation. They buy emotion. If your brand does not create emotion, it does not create memory. And if it does not create memory, it does not create loyalty. So now the question becomes simple. Where did your brand lose its clarity? Because you cannot fix what you do not understand. Chapter 2. Resetting your brand foundation. Now we begin rebuilding from the core. Every strong brand is built on 3 pillars: purpose, audience, promise. Let's break it down. Purpose is your reason for existing beyond money. Ask yourself, why does this brand matter? What problem am I trying to solve? What change do I want to create? Without purpose, your brand becomes a transaction, not a mission. Next is audience. This is where most people make a critical mistake. They try to reach everyone. But branding is not about everyone. It is about someone. A specific group of people with a specific problem. The more specific you are, the stronger your message becomes. Then comes promise. This is the transformation you deliver. Not what you do, but what changes because of what you do. For example, not, we offer marketing services, but we help confused businesses become clear, trusted, and profitable brands. That is a promise. Now here is the formula you must remember. We help audience achieve transformation through method. This is not just a sentence. It is a foundation. Because once your identity is clear, everything else becomes easier. Your content becomes clearer. Your messaging becomes sharper. Your direction becomes focused. Clarity removes confusion. And clarity builds momentum. Chapter 3. Rebuilding your brand message. Now we move into communication. Because identity is internal, but message is external. And this is where brands win or lose attention. A strong brand message has 3 qualities: simplicity, consistency, emotion. Let's start with simplicity. If your message is complicated, your audience will ignore it. People do not want to decode your brand. They want to understand it instantly. So your job is to simplify, not complicate. Second is consistency. Most brands fail here. They keep changing their message depending on trends, competitors, or moods. But strong brands repeat the same core idea in different ways. Not because they lack creativity, but because repetition builds recognition, and recognition builds trust. Third is emotion. Because people don't remember information. They remember feelings. Your message should answer one question: how does my brand make people feel? Safe, confident, empowered, successful, understood? If your brand does not create emotional connection, it becomes forgettable. Now, let's make this practical. Instead of saying, "We provide digital solutions," say, "We help businesses turn attention into customers through clear strategic branding." Same idea, different impact. Because one is information, and the other is transformation. Chapter 4. Building visual identity that sticks. Now we move to what people see. Your visual identity is not decoration. It is communication. Colors, fonts, layouts, style. All of these send psychological signals. If your visuals are inconsistent, your brand feels unstable. If your visuals are clean and aligned, your brand feels trustworthy. So here is the rule. Less is more. Choose 2 or 3 core colors. Not 10. Not random combinations. 2 or 3. Then choose 1 or 2 fonts and stick with them everywhere. Consistency creates recognition. Recognition creates familiarity. Familiarity creates trust. And trust is what converts audiences into customers. Your visuals should also reflect personality. Ask yourself, is my brand premium? Is it bold? Is it modern? Is it minimal? Is it energetic? Define it clearly. Because if you don't define it, your audience will define it for you. And that is never good. Now apply it everywhere. Your thumbnails, your posts, your website, your ads. Everything must feel like one system, not random pieces, but one identity. Chapter 5. Reconnecting with your audience. Now we move to the most important part. Because branding is not just identity. It is relationship. And relationships require connection. If your brand has been inconsistent, you cannot just continue like nothing happened. You must reconnect. Start by acknowledging evolution. Tell your audience, we are improving, we are becoming clearer, we are building something stronger. People respect honesty. Then, share your journey. Not just success, but the process. Because people connect more with progress than perfection. Next, deliver value immediately. Do not wait. Start helping. Start teaching. Start solving problems. Because value rebuilds trust faster than anything else. And finally, engage. Talk to your audience. Reply to comments. Ask questions. Build conversations. Because brands are not built by posting, they are built by interaction. Chapter 6. The Brand Rebuild Roadmap. Now let's turn everything into action. In the next 7 days, here is what you do. Day 1 and 2. Define your purpose, audience, and promise. Day 3 and 4. Rewrite your brand message in a simple, clear way. Day 5 and 6. Fix your visuals, colors, fonts, and design consistency. Day 7. Reintroduce your brand to the world. Announce your clarity. Share your transformation. And start showing up with consistency. This is not theory. This is execution. Final message. A broken brand is not a failure. It is feedback. It is telling you something is unclear. Something is misaligned. Something needs rebuilding. And when you listen to that message instead of ignoring it, everything changes. Because clarity is not just a strategy. It is power. It builds trust. It builds authority. It builds growth. So if your brand feels unclear right now, do not panic. Rebuild it. Refine it. And elevate it. Because your strongest brand is not behind you. It is the one you are about to create. But identifying the problem is only the first step. To understand what's really holding your business back, you need to take a closer look at your online brand. Most businesses think they have a marketing problem. But what if the real problem is something deeper? Imagine walking through a dense jungle. Noise everywhere. Competitors screaming for attention. Customers scrolling endlessly without stopping. Now imagine trying to grow a business there without a compass. That's exactly what happens when a brand operates online without clarity. You post content, run ads, update your website, try every trend you can find. But somehow, growth still feels slow. And here's the truth. Most brands don't fail because they lack effort. They fail because customers don't clearly understand why they matter. That's where an online brand audit changes everything. Today, we're diving into the strategies smart businesses use to uncover hidden weaknesses, strengthen their digital presence, and stand out in an overcrowded market. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to audit your brand like a professional. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's begin. Think of your brand like a house. From the outside, it may look polished. Nice logo. Clean website. Active social media pages. But underneath? The foundation could be weak. Maybe your messaging is confusing. Maybe customers don't trust the website. Maybe competitors are outranking you on Google. Or maybe your brand simply feels forgettable. An online brand audit helps you uncover all of it. It's a full health check of your digital presence. You analyze your website, your SEO, your social media, your content, your customer perception, and even your competitors. Because in today's world, attention is currency. And brands that communicate clearly always win. Now, here's the biggest mistake most businesses make. They focus only on visibility. More posts, more ads, more content. But visibility without clarity is useless. If someone visits your website and can't instantly understand who you are, what you do, and why they should trust you, they leave. Fast. And most business owners never notice this problem because they're too close to their own brand. That's why audits are powerful. They force you to see your business through the customer's eyes. Not your eyes. The customer's. And that shift can completely transform your business. So let's break down the exact strategy successful brands use. First, audit your website. Your website is your digital storefront. Ask yourself, is it fast? Is it mobile-friendly? Is the message clear within 5 seconds? Are calls to action obvious? Does the design feel trustworthy? Because people judge your business almost instantly. Sometimes a slow website or confusing headline is all it takes to lose a customer forever. Tools like Google PageSpeed Insights, SEMrush, Ahrefs, and Hotjar can help uncover issues you may never notice on your own. And small improvements can create massive results. Next, check brand consistency. Look at your website, YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and emails. Do they all feel connected? Same tone? Same message? Same visual identity? Strong brands feel familiar everywhere. Weak brands feel random. Consistency builds trust. And trust builds sales. Now let's talk about SEO. Because if people can't find your brand online, your business becomes invisible. Search your business name, products, and services on Google. Then ask, are you ranking? Are competitors dominating the search results? Are your titles optimized? Is your content actually solving problems? SEO is not just traffic, it's long-term authority. Brands investing in SEO today are building visibility that compounds for years. Now, here's something smart brands do differently. They study competitors strategically, not to copy them, to understand the market. Look at their messaging, their content, their reviews, their engagement, and the way customers react to them. Then identify what's missing. Maybe competitors sound robotic. Maybe nobody is educating customers properly. Maybe no one is building emotional connection. That gap could become your biggest opportunity. And finally, listen to your audience. Most businesses ignore the most valuable marketing data they already have. Customer feedback. Read your comments. Reviews. Support emails. Social media messages. Look for patterns. What confuses people? What excites them? What frustrates them? Because the best marketing messages usually come directly from your audience. When customers feel understood, they trust you faster. Here's the deeper truth. A brand audit isn't about finding flaws. It's about finding direction. It helps answer the most important question in business. Why should people choose you? And once your brand can answer that clearly, everything changes. Your marketing becomes sharper. Your content becomes stronger. Your audience grows faster. And your business becomes unforgettable. Because clarity creates momentum. So here's your challenge. This week, review your website. Analyze your social media consistency. Search your brand on Google. Study your competitors. And ask customers what they truly think about your business. You'll be surprised by what you discover. And remember, the brands that grow the fastest are not always the loudest. They're the clear. Once you understand where your brand is falling short, the next step is turning those insights into strategies that actually drive growth. Imagine this. It's a rainy Tuesday morning in Manchester, England. A small, family-owned coffee shop has just opened its doors. The owner, Sarah, has been awake since 4:30 a.m., baking pastries, preparing fresh coffee, and arranging everything perfectly before the first customer walks in. She smiles every time someone enters. She remembers people's names. She serves the best coffee in the neighborhood. Her prices are fair. Her service is exceptional. Yet, most days, the shop is nearly empty. Just 3 streets away, another cafe has a line stretching out the door. The coffee isn't better. The prices aren't lower. The service isn't friendlier. So why are customers choosing them instead? The answer isn't coffee. It's marketing. Now, before you think this story is only about one coffee shop in Manchester, it isn't. This same story is happening every single day in London, New York, Toronto, Vancouver, Birmingham, Chicago, Calgary. Thousands of incredible small businesses are struggling not because they offer poor products or bad services, but because the people who need them simply don't know they exist. If you own a small business, dream of starting one, or want to grow your brand online, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll discover practical online marketing strategies that can help your business stand out in today's crowded digital world. More importantly, you'll learn why branding isn't about having the biggest advertising budget. It's about telling the right story to the right people. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Invisible Business. Sarah believed something many business owners still believe today. If my product is good enough, customers will eventually find me. For a while, that seemed reasonable. Friends recommended her cafe. Regular customers kept returning. But as time passed, sales stopped growing. Bills increased. Competition became stronger. One evening, Sarah looked out of her cafe window and watched dozens of people walk past without even looking inside. She couldn't understand it. My coffee is better. My service is better. So why don't they come in? Later that evening, her teenage son asked a simple question. Mom, when was the last time you posted anything about the cafe online? Sarah smiled awkwardly. I don't really have time for social media. Her son replied, maybe that's exactly the problem. Those words stayed with her. Chapter 2. The business everyone could find. The next morning, Sarah visited the cafe that always seemed busy. She expected to find expensive equipment, celebrity endorsements, huge advertising campaigns. Instead, she noticed something different. The owner welcomed customers by name. Every table had a small card encouraging customers to follow them online. Customers were taking photos of their drinks. The cafe's Instagram page was updated every single day. Their Facebook community shared customer stories. Google reviews were filled with happy experiences. TikTok videos showed behind-the-scenes moments. Their email newsletter offered exclusive rewards. The owner wasn't just selling coffee. He was building relationships. That's when Sarah realized something powerful. People don't buy from businesses they don't know. They buy from businesses they trust. And trust begins long before someone walks through your door. Chapter 3. Why branding matters more than ever. Today, your website is your storefront. Your social media is your first impression. Your online reviews are your reputation. Your content is your salesperson. Whether your business is in London, Los Angeles, Liverpool, Boston, Edinburgh, Seattle, Toronto, or Montreal, customers are searching online before making almost every purchasing decision. They're asking questions like, can I trust this company? What do other customers think? Does this brand understand my needs? If your business isn't answering those questions, someone else's business will. That's why branding matters. Branding isn't just your logo. It isn't your colors. It isn't your slogan. Your brand is how people feel when they think about your business. Chapter 4. Sarah's transformation. Sarah made one decision. She would stop waiting for customers to discover her. She would start giving them reasons to remember her. Every Monday, she shared the story behind one of her recipes. Every Wednesday, she introduced one member of her team. Every Friday, she posted a happy customer's experience. She responded to every comment, every review, every message. Slowly, people began noticing. Followers became customers. Customers became loyal fans. Those loyal fans began recommending her cafe to friends. Within a year, her cafe wasn't just selling coffee. It had become part of the local community. And that's exactly what great branding does. It creates belonging. Mid-video message. If this story sounds familiar, you're not alone. Thousands of small business owners work incredibly hard every day but struggle because they focus only on the product and forget about visibility. If you're learning something valuable today, take a second to like this video. It helps YouTube recommend it to more entrepreneurs who need these ideas. If you know a small business owner who's working hard but isn't getting the attention they deserve, share this video with them. And if you're serious about growing your business, building a memorable brand, and learning practical marketing strategies every week, subscribe and turn on notifications. We create videos designed to help entrepreneurs across the UK, the United States, and Canada grow smarter, not just bigger. Now, let's continue. Chapter 5. 5 marketing strategies every small business needs. Strategy number 1. Know exactly who your customer is. Trying to sell to everyone usually means connecting with no one. Define your audience. Understand their challenges. Speak directly to their needs. Strategy number 2. Create valuable content. Don't just advertise. Teach. Entertain. Inspire. Help people solve problems. When you consistently provide value, customers begin seeing your business as an expert they can trust. Strategy number 3. Show the people behind your business. Customers love human stories. Introduce your team. Share your journey. Celebrate your successes. Talk honestly about your challenges. Authenticity builds stronger relationships than perfection ever could. Strategy number 4. Encourage customer reviews. People trust other customers more than advertisements. Ask happy customers to leave honest feedback. Respond professionally to every review, good or bad. This shows people that your business genuinely cares. Strategy number 5. Stay consistent. Marketing isn't something you do once. It's something you build every day. One helpful post. One email. One customer conversation. One story. One improvement at a time. Consistency always beats occasional brilliance. Chapter 6. The Businesses That Win. A year after Sarah changed her approach, something incredible happened. She wasn't spending more money on advertising than her competitors. She simply became easier to discover, easier to trust, easier to remember. Tourists found her through Google. Office workers discovered her on Instagram. Families shared photos of weekend breakfasts. Local influencers recommended her cafe without being asked. Her business had become more than a place to buy coffee. It had become a brand. And brands don't compete only on price. They compete on relationships. Conclusion. In today's digital world, small businesses have something extraordinary: the opportunity to compete with companies many times their size. Not because they have larger budgets, but because they can build genuine human connections. Remember, marketing isn't about shouting louder. It's about communicating better. Branding isn't about looking bigger. It's about becoming more meaningful. Every post you publish, every customer you help, every story you tell, every review you respond to, becomes another reason for someone to trust your business. Whether you're running a cafe in London, a plumbing company in Birmingham, a clothing store in New York, a landscaping business in Toronto, or a family restaurant in Vancouver, the opportunity is the same. Your next customer is already online. The only question is, will they find you? Or your competitor? Final call to action. If today's story inspired you and gave you practical ideas for growing your business, please like this video. It helps more entrepreneurs and small business owners discover these strategies. Share this video with a friend, business partner, or family member who owns a business. One idea from this video could completely change their future. But building a successful brand isn't only about marketing strategies. For leaders and professionals, the way you present yourself can be just as important. Picture this. It's a cool Monday morning in London. The streets are busy, the coffee shops are full, and inside one of the city's most prestigious conference centers, hundreds of executives, entrepreneurs, investors, and business leaders from the United Kingdom, the United States, and Canada are gathering for one of the biggest leadership events of the year. The room is alive with energy. People are shaking hands. Business cards are changing hands. Ideas are becoming partnerships. Every conversation could lead to a new opportunity. Every introduction could change someone's future. Among the crowd sits a man named Daniel Carter. Daniel has spent nearly 30 years building successful businesses. He's led international teams, managed multi-million-dollar projects, helped companies survive economic downturns, mentored future executives, solved problems most people would never know existed. His experience is extraordinary. His leadership is undeniable. His resume is impressive. Yet something surprising happens. No one walks over to introduce themselves. No one asks for his opinion. No one invites him into the conversations that matter. Instead, a much younger entrepreneur, someone with only 5 years of business experience, is surrounded by people. Investors want meetings. Recruiters exchange business cards. Conference organizers invite him to speak on stage. Journalists ask for interviews. Daniel quietly watches from across the room. As he drives home later that evening, one question keeps repeating in his mind. What am I missing? I've worked harder than ever. I've spent decades building my career. So why do people with less experience seem to attract more opportunities? If you've ever asked yourself those same questions, stay with me. Because this story might completely change the way you think about leadership, success, and your future. Daniel had always believed one simple lesson his father taught him. Work hard, Stay humble. Let your work speak for itself. For many years, it worked. Promotions came naturally. Clients appreciated him. His team respected him. His income steadily increased. Life was predictable. But while Daniel was busy working, the business world quietly changed. Recruiters no longer relied only on resumes. Companies searched LinkedIn before scheduling interviews. Clients researched executives online before signing contracts. Investors looked for thought leaders instead of simply experienced professionals. Leadership became visible. Influence became digital. Trust became public. Daniel never noticed. He assumed hard work alone would always be enough. Then, one afternoon, he met an old colleague for coffee. After listening to Daniel explain his frustration, she smiled and asked a question that seemed almost too simple. "Daniel, when was the last time you searched your own name online?" Daniel laughed. "I've never searched my own name." She handed him her phone. "Do it." Daniel typed his name into the search engine. The results surprised him. An outdated company profile. A conference photograph from years ago. Nothing else. No articles. No interviews. No leadership insights. No videos. No personal website. No stories. Nothing that reflected 30 years of leadership experience. His colleague looked at him and quietly said, "The world doesn't ignore talented people. It ignores invisible talent." Those words stayed with Daniel for weeks. A month later, Daniel visited his grandfather. His grandfather had spent more than 60 years growing flowers, vegetables, and fruit trees. Walking through the beautiful garden, Daniel shared everything. His disappointments. His frustrations. His fear that maybe he'd missed his opportunity. His grandfather listened carefully. Without saying a word, he reached into his pocket and placed 2 tiny seeds into Daniel's hand. He planted one seed in rich soil. The second seed he placed inside an old wooden drawer. Months later, Daniel returned. The first seed had grown into a beautiful flowering plant. The second seed looked exactly as it had before. His grandfather smiled. "Tell me, Daniel, which seed had more potential?" Daniel answered immediately. "They both did." His grandfather nodded. "Exactly. But only one was visible. The other stayed hidden. The world can only benefit from what it can see." Daniel stood silently. For the first time, everything became clear. He wasn't invisible because he lacked talent. He was invisible because no one could discover his talent. Executive branding wasn't about becoming famous. It was about making genuine leadership visible. The following Monday, Daniel made a promise to himself. Every Friday morning, he would publish one leadership lesson. Not motivational quotes. Not sales pitches. Not self-promotion. Real stories. Real failures. Real challenges. Real victories. The first article received 28 views. The second received 32. The third only 19. Daniel almost quit. He wondered whether anyone cared. Then one morning, an email appeared. It simply said, "Mr. Carter, your article gave me the confidence to have the most difficult leadership conversation of my career. Thank you." Daniel smiled. He realized something important. He wasn't writing to impress people. He was writing to help people. And helping people builds trust. So he kept going. Week after week. Month after month. One story became another. One lesson became another. Slowly, people began sharing his work. Executives invited him onto podcasts. Business schools invited him to lecture. Companies asked him to mentor senior leaders. Recruiters contacted him with opportunities he had never imagined. Clients started calling without him making a single sales call. The opportunities Daniel once chased were now chasing him. Before we continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt overlooked, even though you knew you had the experience, the skills, and the leadership to make a bigger impact? If your answer is yes, you're not alone. Thousands of professionals work incredibly hard every day but remain invisible simply because they haven't learned how to communicate their value. If you're enjoying this story so far, take just 1 second to click the like button. It helps this video reach more professionals who need to hear this message. If you know someone who's talented but isn't getting the recognition they deserve, share this video with them. It could change the direction of their career. And if you enjoy practical leadership lessons, executive branding strategies, and inspiring business stories like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, you'll discover new ideas that help you grow your influence, attract better opportunities, and become the leader people remember. Now, let's continue. As Daniel's reputation grew, he noticed something remarkable. People weren't hiring him because he had the longest resume. They weren't inviting him because he knew the most. They were inviting him because they trusted him. Trust had become his greatest asset. He finally understood that leadership isn't about authority. It's about influence. And influence always begins with trust. The strongest executive brands aren't built through expensive advertising. They're built through consistency. One helpful article. One honest story. One meaningful conversation. One person helped at a time. Daniel also discovered another truth. People don't remember statistics. They remember stories. They don't remember job titles. They remember how you made them feel. They don't remember your company logo. They remember your character. That realization changed the way he communicated forever. Instead of talking about achievements, he talked about lessons. Instead of promoting himself, he promoted ideas. Instead of trying to impress people, he focused on serving people. Ironically, that's exactly what made people remember him. 3 years later, Daniel returned to the very same conference where he once felt invisible. Same building. Same audience. Same industry. But everything felt different. Before he even reached the registration desk, someone smiled. "Daniel, I've been reading your articles every Friday." Another executive walked over. "Your podcast completely changed how I lead my team." A young entrepreneur shook his hand. "I started my business because of one of your videos." Conference organizers invited him onto the main stage. Investors requested private meetings. Business leaders lined up just to introduce themselves. Daniel hadn't become a different person. His intelligence hadn't suddenly increased. His experience hadn't magically doubled. The only thing that had changed was that people finally knew his story. His executive brand had become his introduction long before he entered the room. Your executive brand is far more than a career tool. It's a leadership catalyst. When people clearly understand your values, they trust you. When they trust you, they follow you. When they follow you, opportunities begin finding you instead of the other way around. Remember, your personal brand is alive. It grows every time you learn something new. Every time you overcome a challenge. Every time you help another person succeed. Every story you tell becomes another brick in the foundation of your reputation. So ask yourself one simple question. If someone searched your name today, what story would they discover? Would they discover a leader? Or would they discover silence? The decision to build your brand begins today. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Today, because your future career, your future business, and your future legacy will be shaped by the story you choose to share. And this isn't just a challenge for executives. Many talented professionals face the same problem. They have the skills, but their expertise remains invisible. What if I told you that two people can have the same education, the same experience, and even the same skills, but one becomes an industry leader while the other remains virtually invisible? Think about that for a moment. Why do some professionals attract opportunities effortlessly while others struggle to get noticed? The answer often isn't talent. It isn't hard work. And it isn't luck. The answer is personal branding. More specifically, how intentionally that brand is developed and communicated to the world. Today, I want to share a story that reveals the hidden power of executive brand coaching and how it can transform not only your career but your entire professional identity. Meet Sarah. Sarah was the kind of professional every company wanted. She was hardworking, reliable, knowledgeable. For more than 10 years, she consistently delivered exceptional results. Projects were completed on time. Teams respected her. Managers trusted her. Yet somehow, every major opportunity seemed to pass her by. Promotions went to others. Conference invitations never arrived. Industry recognition remained out of reach. The more she worked, the more frustrated she became. One evening, after being overlooked for another leadership role, Sarah attended a business conference, hoping to find answers. During a networking session, she met an executive brand coach. After listening carefully to Sarah's story, the coach asked a simple question. "How do people describe you when you're not in the room?" Sarah froze. She had never thought about it. She knew her job title. She knew her responsibilities. But she didn't know how people perceived her professional identity. And that question changed everything. The coach explained something powerful. People knew what Sarah did. But they didn't know who Sarah was. They knew her tasks, not her value. They knew her responsibilities, not her impact. And that's where executive brand coaching began. Most people think personal branding is about social media posts, professional headshots, or a polished LinkedIn profile. But true executive brand coaching goes much deeper. It's a personalized process designed to uncover who you really are, what makes you unique, and how to position yourself as a trusted authority. Think of it like having a personal trainer for your professional reputation. Elite athletes have coaches. World-class performers have coaches. Top executives have coaches. Not because they lack ability, but because they want to maximize their potential. Sarah's coach started with something unexpected. Self-discovery. Not marketing. Not networking. Not content creation. Just self-discovery. The coach asked questions Sarah had never seriously considered. What are your core values? What motivates you? What problems do you solve better than most people? What impact do you want to leave behind? At first, Sarah struggled to answer. But over time, patterns emerged. She realized her greatest strength wasn't managing projects. It was transforming struggling teams into high-performing teams. That realization changed her perspective completely. For years, she had described herself as a project manager. But that wasn't her true value. Her true value was helping organizations unlock team performance. Suddenly, her professional identity became clearer. And clarity is where powerful brands begin. Many professionals skip this step. They focus on looking successful before understanding who they truly are. But lasting influence starts with self-awareness. When you understand your strengths, values, and purpose, your confidence naturally grows. And people notice confidence. As Sarah gained clarity, her coach introduced the next phase. Strategic positioning. Because being talented isn't enough. People need to understand your value quickly. Imagine meeting someone at an event. You have 30 seconds to explain what you do. Would they remember you afterward? Most professionals describe their job title. But memorable professionals communicate their impact. Sarah stopped saying, "I manage projects." Instead, she started saying, "I help organizations transform underperforming teams into high-performing business units." Notice the difference. The first statement describes a task. The second describes a result. Results attract attention. Results create opportunities. Results build brands. Soon, Sarah updated her professional profiles. She refined her messaging. She became intentional about how she presented herself. Almost immediately, people started seeing her differently. Not because she changed, but because she finally communicated her value clearly. Then came another challenge. Communication. One of the biggest barriers to professional growth isn't lack of knowledge. It's lack of communication skills. Many brilliant professionals struggle because they can't communicate their expertise effectively. Sarah was no exception. Public speaking terrified her. Networking felt awkward. Sharing ideas in meetings made her nervous. Her coach helped her develop confidence step by step. She learned how to tell stories, how to communicate with clarity, how to speak with authority without sounding arrogant, how to create authentic content that reflected her expertise. At first, progress was slow, but consistency creates transformation. Sarah began speaking at internal meetings, then industry webinars, then conferences. Every opportunity strengthened her confidence, and every presentation increased her visibility. Something remarkable started happening. People began reaching out to her, not because she chased attention, but because she created value and communicated it effectively. Visibility isn't about being loud. It's about being clear. The clearer your message, the more people understand your value. And when people understand your value, opportunities follow. As Sarah's influence grew, her coach introduced another important lesson: networking. Most people misunderstand networking completely. They think it's about collecting business cards, building contact lists, or making connections that might be useful later. But true networking is about building relationships. Relationships built on trust. Relationships built on value. Relationships built on authenticity. Instead of asking, "What can I get from this person?" Sarah learned to ask, "How can I help this person?" That simple shift transformed her network. People remembered her, trusted her, recommended her, introduced her to new opportunities. Influence grows when you consistently create value for others. The strongest personal brands aren't built through self-promotion. They're built through service. Months turned into years, and Sarah's career transformed. Leadership opportunities appeared. Industry recognition increased. Speaking invitations arrived. Recruiters contacted her. Executives sought her advice. But the biggest transformation wasn't external. It was internal. For the first time, Sarah truly understood her value. And that's the real purpose of executive brand coaching. It's not about creating a fake image. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about uncovering your authentic strengths and learning how to communicate them effectively. Your personal brand already exists. Every interaction creates an impression. Every conversation tells a story. Every piece of content shapes perception. The only question is whether you're intentionally building your brand or allowing others to define it for you. In today's competitive world, visibility matters. Influence matters. Trust matters. And your personal brand is the bridge that connects your expertise to the opportunities you deserve. The professionals who thrive tomorrow will be those who invest in understanding themselves today. They will know their strengths, communicate their value, build meaningful relationships, and position themselves strategically, just like Sarah, and just like countless successful leaders around the world. Because when people know who you are, what you stand for, and the value you create, everything changes. Opportunities increase, confidence grows, influence expands, and your professional future becomes something you actively shape rather than passively hope for. Executive brand coaching isn't a luxury. It's an investment in your future, an investment in your visibility, an investment in your influence, and ultimately, an investment in becoming the most authentic, impactful version of yourself. So the next time someone asks, "How do people describe you when you're not in the room?" make sure you know the answer, because that answer may determine the future of your career. So the next time someone asks, "How do people describe you when you're not in the room?" make sure you know the answer, because that answer may determine the future of your career. Your personal brand is being built every single day through your actions, your communication, your reputation, and the value you create for others. The question is, are you intentionally building that brand, or are you leaving it to chance? Remember, the most successful professionals don't just work hard. They make sure the right people know the value they bring. And that's exactly what executive brand coaching helps you achieve. So, once you've built a powerful brand and positioned yourself for greater visibility, there's one practical question left. How much does it actually cost to build it? Building a powerful brand is like crafting a masterpiece. It requires vision. It requires strategy. And most importantly, it requires investment. But here's the question every business owner eventually asks. How much should you really pay for a brand strategy in the UK? And more importantly, how do you know if it's worth the money? Imagine two businesses opening on the same street. Both offer excellent products. Both have talented teams. Both work incredibly hard. Yet 5 years later, one becomes a recognized brand with loyal customers, while the other struggles to survive. Why? The answer often comes down to one thing: strategy. Today, we're going to uncover the real cost of brand strategy in the UK, what influences pricing, and how smart businesses invest in branding to achieve long-term success. But before we begin, if you enjoy business growth strategies, branding insights, and marketing tips, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future content. Now, let's get started. Meet James, a passionate entrepreneur from Birmingham. After years of saving money, he finally launched his dream business. His products were fantastic. His customer service was excellent. And he genuinely believed people would love what he had created. But months passed. Sales remained slow. Marketing campaigns produced disappointing results. And despite spending money on advertising, customers weren't connecting with the business. James became frustrated. He started questioning everything. Was the product bad? Were the prices wrong? Was the market too competitive? Then one day, he attended a business conference where a branding expert said something that changed his perspective forever. The expert said, "People don't buy products. They buy what those products mean to them." That statement hit James hard. He realized he had spent months building a business but almost no time building a brand. Like many entrepreneurs, James thought branding meant creating a logo and choosing a few colors. But branding is much bigger than that. A brand is the feeling customers experience when they think about your business. It's the story they remember. It's the trust they develop. It's the reason they choose you over competitors. And that's where brand strategy comes in. Brand strategy is the foundation that shapes every aspect of your business identity. It defines who you are, who you serve, what makes you different, and how customers should perceive you. Without a strategy, branding becomes guesswork. With a strategy, every decision becomes intentional. But creating that foundation requires expertise. And expertise comes with a cost. So what exactly are businesses paying for when they invest in brand strategy? Let's break it down. The first component is research. Great brands are built on understanding. Professional strategists spend time studying competitors. They analyze industry trends. They identify market opportunities. They examine what competitors are doing well and where they are falling short. This research helps businesses find their unique position in the market. The second component is customer insight. Successful brands understand their audience deeply. They know their customers' frustrations, their goals, their desires, their fears. Because when a brand speaks directly to what customers care about, it becomes much more powerful. The third component is positioning. This is where businesses answer one critical question: why should customers choose us? A strong positioning strategy creates clarity. It gives customers a reason to remember you. And it makes marketing significantly more effective. Then comes messaging. Every word your business uses matters. Your website, your advertisements, your social media posts, your emails. Everything communicates something about your brand. Professional strategists create messaging frameworks that ensure consistency across every customer interaction. Finally, there is long-term planning. A good brand strategy doesn't just solve today's challenges. It prepares your business for future growth. This is why many successful companies invest heavily in strategy before they spend large amounts on advertising. Because advertising amplifies what already exists. If the foundation is weak, marketing often becomes expensive and ineffective. Now let's answer the big question. How much does brand strategy cost in the UK? The honest answer is, it depends. Brand strategy pricing varies widely depending on the scope of the project and the level of expertise involved. At the lower end of the market, freelancers may charge anywhere from £500 to £3,000. These projects often include basic research, positioning recommendations, and brand messaging guidance. For startups and small businesses with limited budgets, this can be a practical starting point. Moving up the scale, boutique branding agencies typically charge between £3,000 and £15,000 or more. These agencies usually provide deeper research, customer analysis, workshops, competitor assessments, and comprehensive strategic recommendations. Many growing businesses choose this option because it balances affordability with expertise. At the premium end of the market, established branding agencies can charge anywhere from £15,000 to over £100,000. These projects often involve extensive research, multiple stakeholder interviews, consumer testing, market analysis, and sophisticated brand architecture. Large organizations frequently make these investments because even small improvements in brand perception can generate significant financial returns. When business owners hear these numbers, they often experience sticker shock. But here's something important to remember. You're not paying for a document. You're paying for clarity. You're paying for insight. You're paying for a roadmap that can influence years of business growth. Think about it this way. A poor branding decision can cost a company thousands of pounds in ineffective marketing. A strong branding decision can generate returns for years. Several factors influence the final cost of a brand strategy project. The first is business complexity. A local bakery requires a very different strategy than a national retail chain. The larger and more complex the business, the greater the strategic effort required. Industry competition also plays a major role. Highly competitive industries demand deeper analysis and stronger differentiation. The more crowded the market, the more work is required to help a brand stand out. Research depth affects pricing as well. Customer interviews, surveys, workshops, market analysis all require time and expertise. Projects involving extensive research naturally cost more. Geographic reach is another important factor. A business serving one city has very different needs compared to a company targeting customers across the entire UK or internationally. Finally, agency experience significantly impacts pricing. Experienced strategists charge more because they bring years of knowledge, proven methodologies, and valuable industry insights. Many business owners try to save money by choosing the cheapest option available. Unfortunately, that decision can become expensive later. Poor branding often leads to weak marketing performance, customer confusion, and missed growth opportunities. The smartest businesses focus on value rather than price. Instead of asking, "How much does it cost?" ask, "What results can it help achieve? Can it attract better customers? Can it improve customer loyalty? Can it increase conversion rates? Can it strengthen your competitive position? Can it support long-term growth?" If the answer is yes, the investment may be worthwhile. Before hiring a strategist or agency, define your objectives clearly. Understand your target audience. Request detailed proposals. Review previous work. Examine case studies. And compare value rather than simply comparing prices. Remember, branding is not about looking good. It's about creating a meaningful connection with customers. Let's go back to James. After investing in a professional brand strategy, something remarkable happened. His messaging became clearer. His marketing became more focused. Customers finally understood what made his business different. Advertising started producing better results. Sales began to grow. And for the first time, he felt confident about the future of his business. The products hadn't changed. The market hadn't changed. What changed was how people perceived the brand. That's the power of strategy. A strong brand strategy creates direction. It creates consistency. It creates trust. and trust is one of the most valuable assets any business can build. So, how much should you expect to pay for a brand strategy in the UK? The answer depends on your goals, your business, and the level of expertise you need. But regardless of the price, remember this: the most expensive branding investment is often having no strategy at all. Because businesses that rely on guesswork usually spend far more fixing mistakes later. The strongest brands don't happen by accident. They are built deliberately. They are built strategically. And they are built with a clear vision for the future. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this video with another entrepreneur or business owner who is thinking about investing in branding. And let us know in the comments. What do you think is the biggest challenge when building a successful brand? Thank you for watching. And be sure to come back for more business growth, branding, and marketing insights in our next video. See you next time.